Welcome back to another episode of Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. And today we have an absolute legend on the podcast that is gracious enough to share his time with us, his stories with us, his wisdom, his experience, knowledge. What other word can I pull out? Brian Smith, founder of UGG Boots.
Yes.
And man, I've already heard amazing things about you, and I've heard that your story is quite unique and inspiring. And so you guys are able to hear a story at the exact same time as me.
Yep.
So I'm excited for the conversation, and I appreciate you coming through and sharing time with me.
Hey, Trevor, thanks a lot. Yeah, even though it's my unique story, it's a really, really common story for every entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You'll be amazed at how you've gone through a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about.
Yeah. So tell us how it started, where the idea came from, the concept.
Sure.
Because it's very unique for somebody to say, okay, well, I'm going to make a shoe and a boot, and like, where did that download come from?
Nothing like that. Yeah. I was a chartered accountant.
Wow.
That's like a CPA.
Yeah.
For 10 years, and it took me 10 years to graduate because I was working in the day and studying at night.
Okay.
And I quit the day I graduated because I really hated it. And I was, driving around Perth in Western Australia for a couple of months, really, just trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I had just discovered yoga, from a book, and that sort of led me into meditating. And one day I was just meditating, thinking, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And I just got these goosebumps, and I thought, oh my God, all the big trends are coming out of California.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to California. I'm going to find the next big thing and bring it back to Australia.
Wow.
So that was how it all started. And I arrived in Santa Monica, got a surfboard.
So how soon after that?
Less than 2 weeks.
So literally you had that download, you're on the go.
It was like out of body, right?
Wow.
Just goosebumps everywhere. And I just thought, no time to waste. And so I arrived in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, and I had a surfboard and my suitcase, and I rented a little house in Santa Monica and rented a Dodge van, and I was off to Malibu. All I wanted to do was surf Malibu because I'd been reading about it in surf magazines since I was a kid.
Growing up, just daydreaming about being on those beaches.
And so I surfed pretty much every day for 2, 3, 4 months, and all the time I'm looking for newspapers and billboards and trying to find the next big cool thing like Levi jeans or waterbeds or surf bread.
And what year was this?
That was 79.
Okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. And then it was when it was like October, November, the wind was getting really cold and the water was getting chilly. And I finished my surf with my buddy Doug, and I was pulling on my sheepskin boots that I'd brought from Australia. And I just got a massive dose of goosebumps again. And I looked at Doug and said, oh, shit, Doug, 1 in 2 Australians has some sort of sheepskin footwear, and there's none in America. We got to go into business, man. We're going to be instant millionaires, right?
Yeah.
And every entrepreneur knows that feeling,
It's just going to happen, because you believe it to your core.
And
that means everybody else is going to believe it.
See the potential like nobody else.
Yeah. You got to be the first buyer of the dream, I guess.
Yeah. So we went back to my house and did a bit of research and ended up calling a distributor in Western Australia, a little sheepskin factory. And we ordered 6 pairs of samples, and Doug was going to be the salesman because I was terrified of sales.
Yeah.
And so we went out for about a week and came back with 150 business cards of every single shoe store that he'd visited. And he said, Brian, they tell us we're crazy trying to sell sheepskin in California.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it sounds logical, but Australia's climate's identical to California.
Yeah.
And so that couldn't be the reason. And when you're an entrepreneur, you hit the wall, you got to figure out, you can give up.
Yeah.
That's the easy one. Or you can figure a way around or over the obstacle. And I thought, well, how come all my buddies up at Malibu think this is the best idea in the world? And it struck me that, oh, God, so many of them went to Australia on their surf trips and bought 4 or 5 pairs of boots back for their buddies.
Gotcha.
So within the surf community, it was really well known. And so everybody thinks that we started going after surfers, but it was like a default because we couldn't do any good in the shoe store.
Step one, because they already were aware of it.
It was like low-hanging fruit. So we started off, this time I went on the road, and I remember walking into the first surf shop, and I'm like so sheepish, and I open up a little bag of samples, and he goes, "Oh, UGG boots. They're great, man. All my friends have got them. What are you doing with those?" And I said, "Well, we're thinking about importing them into America." "Oh, my God, you're going to make a fortune. Those things are the best, And this happened all the way down the coast.
Wow.
Started off in Malibu and all the way through Newport, Laguna.
So did you turn into the sales guy that you didn't think that you were over time?
Well, after that first initial thing, I thought, well, shit, this sales isn't so bad, And
when they say yes, it's not so bad, right?
Yeah,
when they say no, it's terrible.
So we ended up after a week meeting back in my warehouse. It never occurred to us that we hadn't asked for any orders. Right?
Oh, they thought how great it was.
We didn't have any inventory.
You never said.
Yeah, we never asked for an order. And so we thought, oh, shit, we're on fire. So we, by a fluke, I won't go into how, but we raised $20,000 and sent $15,000 down to Australia and bought 500 pairs of boots. And they arrived in the beginning of December, and we put them all in the third bedroom in my little house in Santa Monica. And we filled up our vans, and we went back on the road to sell, And I remember walking into the first surf shop with Con Surfboards in Santa Monica, and I got my order pad and the pen. I go, "Okay, James, how many would you like?" And he goes, "Well, shit, well done, Brian, but we couldn't sell them in this store. We just sell surfboards and trunks and flip-flops, and they're way too expensive. You'll do great in the shoe stores." Oh, shit.
You've already tried the shoe store.
And then I went back to the next surf shop. "Oh, well done, Brian, but we just sell surfboards and bikinis and trunks, and you'll do great in the shoe stores." And this happened all the way again from Malibu.
From top to bottom.
Santa Monica, all the way down. And Doug and I met back at the end of the week in my house in Santa Monica, and we tallied up all the orders we had. And it was 28 pairs for the first
defeating.
Season. Yep. Oh, it was so disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean,
From flying high to being at the low of lows.
Yeah, and that's. But the thing is, it's the very natural thing that every entrepreneur goes through.
Yeah.
And even though you look at years, 40 years down the road, it's $2 billion in sales. It didn't start out that way,
How long of a process was that type of a grind where it was like in the car, shop to shop, shoe place to shoe place?
3 to 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
I finished off, January, February, March. I had a Dodge van.
Yeah.
The doors opened outwards. And so I sold a shitload of product, like $6,000 worth for January, February, March before it got too warm. And that was sort of like a pop-up store, right?
Yeah.
Even 40 years before pop-up store.
Yeah.
We had a pop-up store.
van.
And everybody used to come from all over LA. Yeah, we heard there's a guy in Malibu selling Uggs. They're really cool. We want to get a pair. So, but I got a summer job, and the next year I thought, okay, we'll advertise. So I hired these 2 really good-looking models and posed them on the beach at Wind and Sea in La Jolla here. And perfect hair and clothes, and the boots were like the major part of the ad. And the sales went to $15,000. And it should have been way more. So I got another summer job, and then the next year I decided to hire better-looking models and a more sophisticated photographer, and we ran those ads again, same type of style, and the sales went to about $30,000, and it should have been way, 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 way more. And so the third summer job I got was working on a golf course in El Cajon, and I remember thinking all summer how hard the business was. Americans didn't understand sheepskin, the product's expensive. To sell one pair of size 7s, you have to have from 6 through 12 because you never know what size is coming. Right? So it was really expensive for the retailers, and I just decided, okay, I'm just going to get rid of the product I have left and get out of the business.
Yeah.
And around October, how here in California, October, that first storm hits, and everybody just says, "Oh shit, it's winter."
Winter,
right? That's California phenomena. And anyway, I got home from the golf course this October, and totally wet from the storms, and the answering machine had about 25 messages on it from all my surf shop customers going, Brian, oh my God, the store's been full of people wanting UGG boots today. I've run out. Can I come down and get some more? You know, wow. and every one of them was the same. And I couldn't even go out of business properly. You know,
you made up your mind that you were done.
Yeah, I was done, and then I realized, oh my God, I can't even give up. You know, so I put a huge order in from Australia and sold everything I had like that next day or two. And then the business started to really pick up. I had about 40 or 50 retailers in the surf community at that time. And this year I thought, well, shit, I am blowing it on the advertising. So I called up a buddy who owns a surf shop in Ocean Beach. Yeah. And I went down and had a few beers with him. And I was talking about this advertising. And he goes, oh, shut up, bro. And he says, calls out these half a dozen little grommies that store their boards in the back of the shop, and he said, hey, you guys, what do you think of Uggs?
Did they know that you owned Uggs, or were they?
Yeah, yeah. And they just, every one of them just went, oh, man, those Uggs, they're so fake. Have you seen those ads? Those models, they can't surf. And, instantly I realized I'm sending the wrong message to my target market. And when I saw my ads through their eyes, it was so embarrassing because they were so fake. Right? Yeah. And so really quickly, I had a buddy, Pete Townend, who was a former world surf champion, Aussie, and he was running a Scholastic surf team in Orange County. And I said, Pete, you got any young kids who are going to go pro soon? Because I need to sort of sponsor someone, And he gave me Mike Parsons and Ted Robinson, and we went up to Trestles. And we went to Black's Beach here in La Jolla, and they're both like a mile to get to the water. Yeah. There's always fantastic surf at the end, right? And so I just took my little Canon Sure Shot, and I just shot photos of them walking to them back from the beach and everything. And I ran those ads October, November, December, and the sales went to $220,000. Wow. Just why? Wow. Because I'd figured out what marketing and advertising is all about. You never advertise the product itself. Like I had the first ads of the big UGG boots.
Yeah, you were saying it was showing the UGG boots. Yeah.
And the shots I used with Mike and Ted, the boots were like quarter of an inch high on a full page ad.
It was more of the lifestyle.
I tapped that. You hit it on the head. It's good advertising will make you want to be in the photo or the video or whatever format it is. Yeah. And you want so badly to be in it. And I captured that with this walk along on the beach, to Trestles and Blacks. And after that, it was just like really, really easy to sell into the
it was gas on the fire at that point.
And it just became like if you didn't have a pair of UGG boots at Laguna High or Santa Monica High.
So all the cool kids, it went from struggling to everybody had to have it.
All the cool kids at school are going UGG boots. I want a pair of UGG boots for Christmas, Yeah. And the moms can't refuse. Yeah. Because,
that's your best marketing is having the kids bug their parents.
A bunch of whining kids.
Yeah. It's like, here, shut up, take it,
And from that, when I finally discovered that, then I was easy to do it into snowboarding. I got all the young snowboarders in the ads, and then I had a big problem trying to get back east because being Australian, what do the kids do here in the winter? Yeah. And I was at a sporting goods store, and he goes, "Well, shit, they play hockey." Yeah. And I hockey because in Australia there's no hockey, right? Yeah. And when I started to research it, I go, man, this is way bigger than surf market, And so I was able to promote the youth hockey.
So you found your way in. So you're like, hey, this is where they're at. This is where they're hanging out. This is what they love. Now what I'm going to do is tie my thing to the thing that they love doing and in the places that they hang out and where they go.
And you know how I mentioned that the pop-up store was 40 years before its time? Yeah. I was using influencers 40 years ago. Those young kids, those young surfers and snowboarders, they were influencers. And so, that formula, people think, well, marketing's changed now. Well, it really hasn't. No. It's just the medium's changed. Yeah. Right? With the internet just totally broke all the rules. And you can get...
When you find out, like I said, the environments that they're in, the people that they look up to, the things that they like, you have to tie all of those things in with whatever product or service that you're selling. Right. It's already all there. These things exist in their life. Yeah. How do you make your thing coexist with the things that already existed within their life?
Yep.
and intertwine them, I guess, right?
The answer is simple. What will get someone emotionally invested in this? Why the hell? How can I present it so
package it?
They want to buy it? If you have weight loss pills, you don't show a packet of your weight loss pills.
Yeah, nobody wants to see somebody popping a pill.
Show somebody skinny in and out having fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same, if you have a software that saves time, you don't have a bunch of engineers at the computer in your ads. You have a guy in the Bahamas drinking a rum drink and all the time he's saving.
Yeah.
So it's very subtle, but it's very, very effective. You have to get the reader into the ad.
So how did it go from, because it seems as though that you went from, to then sports and then it's like every woman on the planet has to have a pair of UGG boots, and so how did you go from athletes, so to speak,
it's really
to now women that are just craving UGG boots? Because I know my wife is one of them.
Well, it started, as I said, with the guys in the high school, right? And then the girls, the mum's buying the boots for her son. And he goes, well, my daughter would like these, right? So it started to get into the female market, but the big break was back east in Minneapolis, because all these mums have to take the kids to hockey and they have to sit in the rink. It's 40 degrees.
Yeah.
And they have to go to buy them at the department stores, right? And so while they're there, I go, these are really nice. I'd get a pair for myself, get some for my daughter. So gradually over a 5, 6, 7 year period, it started, the female side came into it. And it was the same peer pressure. I mean, if you didn't have a pair of UGG boots as a girl in Minneapolis, you just...
So did you have like two variations where there was like, hey, these are the girl version of Uggs and this is the boy, or did it all just look the same and it was just more the feeling of it on your feet?
It was all unisex. We just changed the sizing for women, but that was in the early days, right? The first 10 years.
Yeah.
After that, we got a lot more sophisticated and started bringing in, much better styles.
So when I think every business owner hits a point where they start figuring it out.
Yep.
As you did, right? Yep. You went through your struggle, as everybody will.
Yep.
You start seeing some wins, and your business is growing.
Yep.
Like, you had to evolve as an individual during that growing phase of your business and start saying, okay, well, we can't carry the load ourselves and drag this thing to success. I need to surround myself with people that are brighter than me or smarter than me.
Yeah.
Like, at what point in the process did you say, I want this to be a global brand, and I'm going to. Did you start seeing the vision of this could be $1 billion company, or were you just so much in the process where it was just like, hey, I'm having fun trying to grow this thing? Like, what was the vision?
I thought it was going to be $1 million company when I first thought of it.
Yeah,
on the beach at Malibu.
Yeah,
hadn't even sold a pair. This is multi-million dollars. Right?
Yeah,
and that's healthy because entrepreneurs need that drive. But But the book that I wrote, which was in 2014, it goes back to those early days. It's like a chronological...
It's a journal.
Story of building the UGG and all the way through to selling it. Right?
Yeah.
And the theme of it is that you can't give birth to adults, right? You can't give birth to adults. And every one of those entrepreneurs that has the aha is like, that's the conception.
Yeah.
And then they have to take action, and that's the birth, right? So me buying 6 pairs of samples from Australia was the birth of UGG.
Yeah.
And then every business just goes into this horrible infancy, and it just lies there.
Spits up on you. You got to change the diapers.
Change the diapers, keep feeding it. Every now and again you get a giggle, but it's just the worst phase of it. And entrepreneurs nearly always give up at this point.
Yeah.
But if you can nurture it through that infancy, it'll start toddling. And that's a great phase because, the first true believers are taking your product and they're telling all their friends, and magazines are writing articles about you, and that infancy starts to gain, and then suddenly become a toddler. And toddling is really cool because everybody's, wanting a piece of it.
Yeah.
And then you hit the youth phase, which to me is the best phase of every business because you got consistent sales and marketing.
Yeah.
The orders are coming in, production's working, admin is working, the warehouse is clicking, and you can run a $20-30 million company in that youth phase.
Yeah.
But if it is a really good product or a really good service like UGG was, you're going to hit the teenage years. And do you recall as a teenager?
It's like a regression phase.
You remember when you wanted to be in every party on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same in business.
So in other words, you make a lot of dumb decisions?
Oh, stupid, yeah. If you're not careful, you want to be in every mass trade show, you want to be in every big retailer, and it's so easy to run out of capital and kill yourself. I've seen so many companies go too fast.
Yeah.
But if you can get the controls put in and becomes a mature company, that's the life cycle of a business, and it's identical to the life cycle of a human. So to answer your question, was it quick getting out there? It took about 5-6 years to get to that point where
there was a snowball effect, or the momentum was on your side.
And after that, it then just became, okay, how do we grow? And you mentioned bringing on a bunch of employees.
Yeah.
There's one thing, for every entrepreneur listening, and this is a big problem. You start off bringing your friends in, right?
It's the low-hanging fruit.
I got the great idea. Come and join me,
Yeah.
And that's cool for a while, but it nearly always ends up where the founder has the vision and he knows what's going on. The others start to vary on what they want to do. And I call these people scaffolding employees, right? Because you can't get to up here without the scaffolding to get you there.
Yeah.
But once you're there, these people are useless because you need bigger decision makers and more experienced business people. And it's a really sad thing because I've seen so many friendships break up because of this.
Yes.
But if you're the entrepreneur and it's your money and it's your vision, you just got to live with it and be as kind as you can when you realize, hey, we've just outgrown you, and we need to move on.
Well, it's not even that's not even with friends or family. That's just the likelihood is if you're in year 1 to 5 of business, that the people that are there on year 1 to 5 being with you at year 10 or 15,
very small,
very, very, very slim to none.
Yeah.
If you have 10 employees right now, most likely you're lucky if you have one of those 10 5 years from now, right?
1 to 2, yeah.
And so you're shedding the old, but those individuals, you should be grateful for them because
you couldn't
need them.
You couldn't get to where you want to go without them.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're you're not gonna be able to afford a nanny when you're a new parent.
Right.
You get a babysitter and you get whoever you can to come wipe the baby's ass and the burps and the feeding and all that. And so, but eventually it's going to mature and you might need somebody that's at a level that can also tutor your child.
That's right.
While they're, watching your child at the exact, there's just levels. And one of the most difficult things I know for me is sometimes loyalty is outweighing logic.
Yes.
These people have been with you. They've helped you get to the point where you're starting to touch good money and you feel obligated to these individuals, even though they're throwing their own temper tantrums as you're trying to get better. You're like, well, now we should add core values. Now we should operate with this standard. And then they start throwing fits because you've trained them in a way that doesn't honor where you say that you want to go. And they already have a set of programming, so to speak, of the way that you've done it, which is just throwing it together on the fly and handling the day-to-day fires. But when you start really creating structure, there's usually a lot of pushback from those initial employees because they've been around day one. I don't have to do that type, and so
there's a lot of fear of the unknown with employees. But that's really refreshing to hear you say that because you've obviously been there and done it with a lot of companies.
And it's painful.
Because you can only learn it one way, and that's to do it.
Yeah, it's super painful. And you go through some dark times doing a lot of introspection. Am I doing it the right? I'm shedding all these people that you do love and that you do care about.
Yeah.
And
you'll come to the point where it's, do I pay them or do I try and pay my own household bills?
Yeah. What mission is bigger? The mission that you have for the business that could probably have thousands of employees and impact thousands and thousands of people as Brian has done, or he could have stayed true to the first 10 people and kept it a 10 people business and not made the impact that you've made building the business that you've built. So if you stay loyal over logic, you're going to experience a lot of pain, and I don't want to say be disloyal, but you have to shed people when they're no longer serving the mission and they're creating more problems than solutions.
That's the telling point,
Right?
And that will come.
Yeah, you're going to hear more
every wrong
complaints.
employee will show up eventually.
Yeah, and as you start making decisions that connect with where you're trying to go, some people will just leave.
Yep.
The way that you're structured will repel some of the people.
They'll sense it and get out,
Yeah, and they'll get out. And that's when you start going through a time like, well, am I doing the right thing? Like, am I... And the pain actually has to increase for a moment because you're shedding people and you're like, now I got to do all this plus hire, plus train, plus like, what am I doing? Right. And so sometimes it feels easier to stay where you're at and get very complacent. But in reality, you're going to have an uptick in pain in order to get to that next level. And that's the problem. That's the threshold that people struggle with.
And it does get easier. That range from 1 to 2 million is just the worst phase of every business.
Yeah.
Because
you can't afford the help.
You're too big to be small.
Yeah.
And you're too small to be big.
Yeah.
And you want a CFO, you can't afford it. You want a full-time warehouse manager, can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the things that you need, and there's no way to get through it except grind your way through it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so some people feel like that they're doing it wrong because of that moment that they're in.
Yep.
You know, they feel tired and they feel exhausted, even though that they've made it through the baby phase and they're starting to grow a little bit. Yep. And they're feeling tired and exhausted, and they question whether this process is still worth it.
That's right.
Even when they're making $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000.
And just for the audience, you know, this concept of you can't give birth to adults is universal. And I'll give you a couple examples.
Please.
At the same time I was starting UGG, there was this company up in Oregon that was called Blue Ribbon. They were importing running shoes, trying to advertise in the running market. And after a few years, they changed their name to Nike, and they were getting nowhere in the running market, right? They were up against Adidas and all the big companies, you know.
Yeah.
And eventually, the sport of jogging took off, right? And everybody who's, you know, wanted to get into jogging, they start buying running magazines, and they see this Nike, been there 3, 4, 5 years. They've advertised, let's get some Nikes. And so Nike got sucked into this vortex of demand from jogging and went into the millions and the hundreds of millions and the billions, right?
Yeah.
And there was another company in Santa Monica at the same time. They'd been nearly 10 years trying to get into the market with this little kid leather dance shoe. And they were advertising in all the dance magazines all over the country and trying to get into the high school and the university cheerleading teams and everything. And that company was called Reebok. And then aerobics took off, right? Jogging, nothing to do with Nike. Aerobics, nothing to do with Reebok.
Yeah.
But they go, what's the best dance shoe? Oh, this Reebok's been there year after year after year after year. And let's buy Reeboks. And they got sucked into this vortex of millions and hundreds of millions and billions, right? Now, here's the weird thing. I read Shoe Dog, which is the book of Phil Knight's book of Building Nike.
Yeah.
And would you believe that the first 5 years' sales of UGG was greater than the first 5 years' sales of Nike?
Wow.
Yeah, you just wouldn't believe. But it shows how universal this theme is.
Yeah.
You cannot give birth to an adult.
You're not going to avoid the unavoidable.
Yeah.
The process is the process.
Yeah. There's a lot more to life than running a business and studying.
Absolutely.
Life is living and being loved, right? And they got this great piece of philosophy in that early stage, which is the quickest way for a tadpole to become a frog is to live every day happily as a tadpole. Right? It sounds a little trite, but when you get into it, that's very, very deep philosophy.
Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing you'll remember from the book, you know. But, yeah, if you can just be tadpole, just like Nike and Reebok, tadpole, keep doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
And bam, something's going to happen and you become...
You'll hit your rocket moment eventually. Right?
Yeah, and it's pretty universal. As long as you don't give up, that's the secret.
How enticing was it to try to explore other things like turning UGG into running, these different departments, right?
Yeah.
Right. UGGs, based upon what I see, anyways, it seems like it stayed pretty true. But everybody gets also, when you start seeing some success, the shiny object. Like, let's diversify and try this and try that. Like, was there a phase in
there was, but it wasn't in footwear. I sensed in the first year or two that snowboarding was going to be huge. Right? And I bought a snowboard. The first day I ever saw a photo of a snowboarder, I went and bought a snowboard that day, right?
Okay.
Because it was just like surfing all over again, but on it,
on the snow, yeah.
And so I got the team together and we said, let's do a snowboard apparel line, because everyone's wearing the shitty ski, flamboyant ski gear.
Yeah.
And I said, let's do something for the snowboarders. And we created a phenomenal snowboard line, and we launched it at the trade show in Las Vegas at the ski show. And that was when the economy was turning and going south and skiing was shrinking. And like 20, 30 really big ski brands went out of business that year. And we kicked ass. We sold $1.5 million worth of product.
Really?
Never having done it before. And unfortunately, though, it didn't snow in the entire American continent that next season.
Really?
So all these ski shops, but hey, Brian, we got to return it. We can't pay you. So, we put out many hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the production done, and ended up just
eating it.
Yeah, so we were in and out of the snowboard business really fast. But that's the only real diversification we did.
Yeah, that's surprising to me that you stayed that disciplined.
Yeah,
you tested one market, didn't really work. You exited. How important is it for somebody when they do make a test to also be able to course correct like that? I mean, my guess is if you would have stayed and continued to invest, just as we talked about, right? The tadpole, maybe UGG would be a massive snowboard brand today, right?
I totally believe it would have.
Yeah.
But I had investors and they didn't have any more money to chase the following year, and it was a big loss.
It was a financial decision to say, okay, this is what puts green in the bank account.
Totally.
This is not what's working for us at this point.
Totally. Yeah.
So partners, investors, things like that. When did you start taking on other people's money, and what was the pressure of that like, or did it actually ease some of the pressure? Because some people reach out and say, hey, should I get investors' money?
Yeah.
And I say, well, I personally never have. And from what I've been told, in some cases, it's like you're taking on somewhat of a boss. Somebody else is saying, hey, what's going on? But you're now answering to somebody because you accepted their money.
It's the worst thing in the world, yeah.
Gotcha.
If you're in the products business,
you're
pretty much going to have to take in outside capital.
Yes.
If you're
be able to expand.
If you're a fast growth company,
Yes.
If sales are doing great, you are digging a humongous hole in front of yourself, right? My greatest failing, I think I'll call it, was even though I was a chartered accountant, I did not understand finance. I had accounting is looking backwards. This is what you did.
Yeah, projecting forward.
Finance is like, how do I grow?
Yeah.
How do I get the money for what's coming? And I had no clue about that. So my thinking was, well, we just sold, $1 million this year and we're broke. What's the answer? We'll sell $2 million next year.
Yeah.
And I'm twice as broke because you have twice as much inventory you have to buy, a bigger warehouse, more stuff.
Everything expands when that money expands.
It's just a horrendous thing, And so I would, get it, after the first $20,000 investors, we got to about $100,000 in sales, and we needed, another $25,000 worth of capital, and they didn't have it. So I got a new bigger investor, and he didn't want the old one, so I had to make a deal to buy the old one out. And then we ran that for a couple of years, and they couldn't afford the next growth, and that just went on. And it got to a point where I finally got these three guys from Anaheim, right? Neil, Paul, and Joe, and they were in the distribution business, and they were going to do all the warehousing, the accounting, the purchasing, and I was just going to be a full-time salesman.
That probably sounded amazing to you at that time. You're telling me you're going to take a bunch of load off of my shoulders?
Brilliant, yeah. And by now, I love sales. Right?
Yeah.
I was so good at it. And so we moved everything up to Anaheim, and we were all going to own it 25% each.
Okay.
But there was a caveat. I didn't get my 25% till I finished up this little trademark lawsuit that I was in.
Okay.
And I knew I was going to win it, so I went ahead with the deal, and we moved everything up to Anaheim and, where their distribution was.
Yeah.
And I helped them load up the warehouse and got the accounting all started. And then I went out on the road for my first day on the road, as a full-time salesman. Yeah. And I went down Beach Boulevard to Huntington Surf and Sport, and I walked in, and the owner, Terry, goes, "Hey, Brian, I heard you sold the company." I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, I called an order in this morning, and they said you don't own the company anymore." I said, "You're kidding me. They said that."
Well,
and I couldn't wait to get out of there. I went to the Shell gas station next door because this is before cell phones.
Yeah.
And I called up Anaheim. I go, "Neil, what the hell are you telling people?" He says, "What do you mean?" So you're telling them I don't own the company. He said, "Well, you don't. You haven't got the lawsuit." And I said, "Bullshit. You're my 3 new partners." And I hung up and I drove back to San Diego and I looked at the contract and I went, "Oh shit. Technically, I don't own any of the company."
Mm-hmm.
And I just went into this huge depression. And for like 3 days, I didn't speak to anybody except my wife.
Yeah.
Just moped around the house. I couldn't get a logical thought together. I wouldn't take any calls. I couldn't make any calls. I was just in this fog. It was like the gears just ground stopped, And it was about the third night, I think it was. I was, watching TV on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm lying on my back and my wife's up on the couch, and we've clicked off the TV show and I rolled over on my stomach and I got up on my hands and knees and started crawling to the bedroom. And my wife just looked at me and went, "Get up now and walk to bed like a man." And she scared the shit out of me because I just...
You were in a pity party.
Oh, and like when I came up off the floor, it was like coming out of a fog.
Wow.
And it was like, oh my God, there's so much more to life than this crappy little UGG boot company. And that night I slept like a baby, And the next morning I got up, I'm back meditating and Mr. Positive again. And I was thinking, shit, what can I sell? I thought, real estate, no. Business broker, maybe. Accountant, never. And then I got these goosebumps again, which I'll talk about in a second, And I thought, oh my God, sales. I've come to love sales.
Yeah.
So what'll I sell? And then that's when the goosebumps hit. I thought, well, shit, UGG boots. I love UGGs, and I want to get a pair on everyone in the company in America. So I called up the guys at Anaheim. I said, look, I may never own the company, but I'm going to go on the road, and I'm going to not stop until everyone in America wears a pair of UGG boots, Mm-hmm. And we made an agreement that they wouldn't tell anybody I sold the company. And so I went out on the road then after that and got back after a month, and Neil hands me a check. It's $5,000. He said, that's your commissions. And that was 6 years into the business, the first money I ever pulled out.
Wow.
And then I got the next month a check for $10,000. The next month another check for $10,000,
Wow.
And that led to another piece of philosophy in my book, which is that nearly always your most disappointing disappointments will become your greatest blessings. Right?
I'm a big believer in that.
And I asked, I speak all over the world from the stage on this, and when I always ask them, raise your hands if someone in the audience, if you, in the last 6 months, had some disaster happen at the time you thought was the most devastating thing, and now you look back and think, thank God that happened.
Yeah.
I tell you, 80%.
Yeah.
And there's the lazy ones who don't put their hands up,
Yeah.
It's infallible. Your disappointments will always come back to be your greatest blessings if you don't give up.
Yeah. So do you think every business is going to find those moments of crisis?
I'm without a doubt.
And how often do you think these moments of crisis come every 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
I can't really say that, but the thing is, my crisis...
Yeah.
If you read it, you'll make sure there's no razor blades around, right?
Yeah.
But to somebody else, losing an employee is a crisis.
Yeah.
Right? So crises are
Depends on where you're at.
Very relevant to the stage of the growth and how big it is, you know.
Let me ask you this. What does your routine look like today? You talked about meditations and getting goosebumps and things like that.
Still do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got goosebumps talking to a guy at one of my lectures last week. You know?
Yeah.
And to tell you what my take on goosebumps is?
Yeah.
God isn't out there at the end of the universe, right?
No.
Probably is, but I've come to realize that, or believe that there's a fragment of God in every single one of us.
Wow.
And it's like unique, like an iris or a fingerprint or something, and it's absolutely unique to us, and it has a mission for where it wants us to go in our life. It's that spiritual guide that we never listen to because we're too busy. But if you can, in meditation, tune in just to be quiet and just talk to this thing.
Yes.
Right? It's uncanny how much momentum you'll get out of doing that.
Yes.
And so that, I challenge everybody, next time you get the goosebumps, just stop for a second and just go, what did I think? What did I just, who was I talking? I'll bet you it'll be something that's really quite momentous for your life.
Yeah. I have that same philosophy, and we were actually talking about that on the drive down to California.
Good for you.
Yeah. It was, if God is all-seeing and all-knowing, that means he would be within has to be within.
Yeah.
So what does the devil want to do? They want to distract you from doing what? Going inside.
Totally.
Right? They use drugs, all these external things to say, hey, look over here, so that you don't go within where you could tap into God and your
Good
purpose.
For you, my friend. You're very, very evolved.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I
love
look at
that.
it.
I've never heard anybody else say that. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing your perspective on that.
My pleasure.
That was incredible. Thank you. It's always awesome to hear from somebody further down the path, a lot more wise, and to have the experience that you have.
Yeah.
To they say success leaves clues.
Huh?
I've
never heard that.
You've never heard
I've
success
never heard
leaves
that
clues.
thing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Explain that.
What it means is if you as you stay on the path in this journey, every so often you'll see a breadcrumb. You're going to see a clue, right? So it might in the day-to-day grind of it, it might not feel like you're winning or that you're making progress. Right. I was talking to Corey, my right-hand man, in the car as we were going over. He goes, man, when we're on the road, I just love the feeling. And I said, you want to know why? Because it's undeniable proof to your brain that progress is happening. We're shaking hands. We're meeting people. Yeah. And it doesn't really feel like you're making progress when you sit behind a computer the next day. But you actually are. You just can't physically see it.
That's right. I've got another way of saying that.
Yeah.
Have you heard the statement that once you start out on a path, the universe will conspire to work with you?
Yes.
You've heard that?
Yes.
Here's my interpretation of that.
Yeah.
Right? Everything that you possibly want or conceive of already exists in the universe.
Correct.
Whether it's money, Ferraris, houses, a lifestyle,
You wouldn't be able to perceive it if it didn't exist.
Right. Every single thing you could possibly want already exists.
Yes.
So when's the last time you saw an ad for a refrigerator?
I don't remember ever seeing one.
Okay.
And the old school newspapers maybe.
If you needed a refrigerator next weekend, you would start seeing ads for refrigerators. They'd be on TV.
Yeah.
They'd be in Starbucks when all the classifieds are open. There'd be pages of TV, of refrigerators.
Yeah.
In other words, until you focus on what it is you want to do, the universe can't help you. Right? If you're so scrambled and all the information is there, but the minute you focus on starting a business, deciding to have a child, a really, really big thing, everything works. Like when I started UGG, I was in the that first investor with the 20 grand. We're in their lawyer's office, right, in Orange County, and just doing the partnership details. And on the receptionist's desk was a magazine that said Action Sports Retailer, Volume 1, Issue 1, right? The very first action sports retailer. And I went, oh, shit, that's my market.
Yeah.
And so I advertised in the second issue, right? Now, had I not been studying this business, I would never have seen that magazine.
Yeah.
And, you multiply that by 10 times the next month, and then 10 times the next month. And before you know it, friends are coming in. Oh, I got a friend who loves this.
Yes.
He'll help you do this. And,
Yes.
and so once you start the momentum going in a direction, that's when the universe starts piling it on.
Yeah. When you go all in, at that point, you'll start seeing.
But if
those are the little clues.
If you sit on the couch, watching TV, never going to see one.
Yeah. It's with momentum and movement in the direction, and again, imperfect movement in the right direction. Will lead you to whatever the next best right step is. Right?
Yeah, because it's like bouncing off walls. It'll still keep you going. I like, people think you start here and go straight up in a business.
Yeah.
Right? You don't. You hit a wall and it's like, shit, okay. Then you're on the next plateau and you hit another one. And it's like, shit, I can give up or I can go. And then every time you overcome, a new wall, you're getting market share on your competitors. You're getting more innovative.
Yes.
And so that's how you win in business, is just never stop climbing that obstacle.
Yeah. Whatever's in front of you is in front of you for a reason.
And you looking back, that's where all the growth is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on the show.
Cool, my pleasure.
How do people connect with you? How do they find your book?
Sure, the book's on Amazon. It's pretty simple to remember that. And my website is UGGfounder, UGGfounder.com.
Okay.
And you can get to me personally through that website.
Then you got whatever your email or contact information there, something like that.
And if any of you are part of a group that would love to have a speaker come along, I got a really killer couple of stories.
Yeah, I can already tell.
This just scratched the surface.
Yeah,
but
you probably dive a little bit deeper into the book, and that's kind of the outline of the keynote. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah. Good luck with everybody.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys tuning in today's show. Brian was absolutely incredible. So make sure you share the show with a friend or a loved one. Rate and review the show as usual, and keep kicking ass. And we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good.
Thank you.